Austin, formerly of our shores in Great Britain, versus Dave Koenig. Both 2-0 at this point. It looks like Austin's going to start. I'm Paul Allen, by the way, speaking from the barren wastelands of the north in Scotland. Joining us, hopefully, will be Jeff Thevenot.
I'm here.
There we go. Welcome,
Hi,
Jeff.
Paul.
Hello there.
Yeah, I'm from the frozen wastelands of northern Illinois.
Aha. Very international event, this. International players, international commentators. So what do we reckon? Yeah. Austin, not the best pickup to start with. Vowley.
I should say not.
A naughty word here. Presumably this wasn't in the old days of the bowdlerized lexicon. This wasn't allowed, was it? Am I right in thinking that?
Poof, I think, was okay. Maybe POOVE was not.
It's all very complex. Anyway, it's all moot point now because it's all okay, yes. That could well be his play, you think?
I think it's the best available.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to keep three vowels, A, E, I, or the ones you want, scores reasonably.
Yeah, and how about positioning? It's probably not a huge amount in it. You're going to put a vowel next to the premium score anyway.
Right. And, it's going to be an S hook on either side of the word.
Yeah. Probably not worth wasting a huge amount of time. Just accept that it's not a great opening and move on.
Yeah. So Dave's to get 2 H's, 2 L. I guess the first thought would be that the H will go on the exposed O score a little bit.
Yeah, there's potential here. You can score and balance. Not that bad a rack. Probably the best keep would be ale, and that's possible by playing hail with H-E-I-L.
Under poof, that would be my first thought.
Or is that making it OH and FE, Jeff?
I'm sorry?
Where are you playing hail?
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I see it. All right.
Well, Dave's gone for more score. Slightly inferior leave, but good score and has restricted the board quite well, so can't argue against that.
It's nice to have an H in hand for HOH too.
Yes.
If it comes.
Yeah, so even with the horrible rack, he should be able to get a reasonable score. Certainly if he gets an O or a U, he can play that up, ho.
Mm-hmm. Austin's helped himself out with a few cons.
Yeah, it's a nice balanced rack.
Heel blocked Pumicate.
Yeah.
I think.
And it almost set up Amuletic.
Ah, yeah. The L's just one spot.
That's one of the advantages of heel. It's left no floaters effectively, or a very end floater of P, which is extremely restrictive. Austin's extremely strong on his 9s, but I don't suppose OH, OE, or FA are going to provide a great deal of joy here.
Yeah, those aren't the easiest ones to play through. Yeah, heel makes it very difficult if you don't have an S to hook on spoof for heels.
Yeah, heel is going to provide some very low scores depending on the opponent's rack. And I think that's the case with Austin here. It's not a lot going to happen.
Yeah, we'll just have to groom it.
Quite tricky, these situations, as to how much bonus potential you keep. Because you can't score.
18.
Right, but on the other hand, I guess the board isn't all that conducive to bingos, though.
Yeah.
Turn in a
So
reply.
he's kept IT, nice leave, and he's now got a floating C. Good physics word at home there.
Yeah. Yeah, this seems to balance I guess, the considerations we were talking about.
Possibly HEP. The trouble with playing CH is it gives away quite a lot.
Yeah, the underlap after that.
Yes, indeed, yes. It was quite a foul leave of Ilya.
Just my first thought would be maybe something looking through the C, forming CH as like a longer word.
Yeah. HEP.
What reaches?
21 for HEP. Decent.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that it involves AE will at least restrict the play underneath it, and it'll probably open up a triple lane if Austin. Or maybe, yep. I think maybe going for that. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there's much wrong with HEP. Hasn't played it yet. I was considering it. Yeah, probably at least as good as anything else. Although it is risky and it is going to blow up in his face.
Yeah. Well, I guess depending.
This is the great beauty of the premium squares in Scrabble. To me, that's the genius of the game. The devising of the game. In that to score, you've often got to leave your opponent opportunities, and they will then leave you your opportunities.
In turn. Yeah, it balances the risk and reward pretty elegantly.
Yes, it's beautifully done. Very elegant. So this is exactly what's going to happen. Big score for Austin, and then reasonable counterplay for Dave.
Something like Zilla jumps out right away.
Yeah, I think Zilla is going to be the fairly straightforward play here.
98 for you and 60 for me. Yeah.
So Austin with that Z play takes a 98 to 60. And after Dave's counter play, the game should be close to tied.
Yeah, 1 point lead for Dave.
Yeah.
A fairly even start, which is what we like.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly. I'm seeing a nice move in the suggestions of people viewing it on the stream. I'll not give away in case people are wanting to see it for themselves. But something under the CHE hook is nice. Scoring play. It keeps the V.
Most lucrative line on the board, and that would be an excellent way to take care of it.
.44 or so. My counting is notoriously bad, but it's thereabouts. But keeping the V, and it gives away counterplay, but still a big score.
Yeah, I would think it'd be well worth it.
28.
Yeah. But Austin's going. He's kind of going the other way. It was Omri. Omri was the play, making Ta and Chu. That would have scored a lot, kept the V, and given lots of counterplay. whereas Austin's play is doing the exact opposite, scoring a bit less, keeping a nice play, and restricting the board.
I wonder if Austin was inferring that, after Dave played Zilla at AIL, he was keeping strongly, but I'm not sure that's the case.
A whole lot of racks, the Zilla.
Yeah,
would have been the play,
Zilla would have been fine. And I wouldn't have made it. So it's like Dave's picked up the.
Oh, he's got the S. A lot of bonus potential there. Take away the J and the Y. It's very bonusy.
I wonder if he's inclined to cash the points and now play something like Jay-Z and given that there's not a whole lot of places to just drop JY.
Yeah, possibly. And that would restrict. I mean, Austin's had many turns to pick up the S himself, so it's not nominal probability of having an S for heels. It's much higher than that.
Yes.
If you could get a reasonable score with, say, playing J-A-Y, that might be the play, but it's not the case on this board, so you could be right. 12. 38, it's not enormous. Keeping ID. Options do they have? Yeah, the other hook for heel is being mentioned, but at this particular moment, there's not a lot can be done with it.
Right.
Yeah, I quite like that. Apart from the Y, it's a very nice bonusy leave. He may have to score with the Y next turn, potentially bonus on the third move.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, he retains all the hooks for the best bingo lane on the board.
Yeah. I mean, potentially play the DY and held.
Austin has picked up the Q. We'll take care of that right away.
Yeah. Bit of a no-brainer for play. And lots of potential.
Yeah, the Q is the only thing wrong with that rack. Might as well just fix it. Dave has duplicated his D's and S's.
Yeah, not ideal. But again, you start to worry. Austin's rack, because he's had so many moves to control it, it should be working quite likely towards a bonus, so he'll be rightfully concerned about that. I wonder, is there any potential of them not, Dave being unsure about helds?
27.
I think it's possible. It's not something that would come up all.
Yes, yeah. They should both know it. But it does take the S. And I suspect Marinos is going to be coming down, is it? Fairly quickly.
Yeah, I don't see anything else that would compete with that.
Yeah, fairly quickly.
And sure enough.
Yeah.
So we have our first.
8, 9, 10, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, significant lead. It's been quite nicely poised, so that gives Austin the initiative. But Dave's got a lot of potential comeback on his rack. Not sure whether the comeback is immediate.
Yeah, I'm not sure he has bonuses, but I'm not sure whether they. I don't see it right away. Fourth point, Dave's play of Deity unfortunately sort of reduces his two S's because it doesn't take an
Yes.
S itself.
Yeah, that's unfortunate from his point of view. But equally unfortunate, I mean, if Austin hadn't come with an immediate S bonus, Dave would be in clover right now, so
True.
kind of unlucky that it hasn't worked out that way.
Yeah.
Dave had neguses and genuses, but neither of us can see a spot. I'm sure it doesn't exist. Would it be any 8s, potentially?
Yeah, because looks more likely to be a rack grooming turn for Dave.
Yes, yes. Geniuses, hugeness, and Gestons.
They're not available here.
Of course, that's easy for us to say sitting here, but we'll probably be screening through the floaters to double check that.
Yeah, especially with this rack looks pretty promising. So I'm sure Dave was taking the time. I think Austin so far has played very quickly. He's still got over 19.
Yeah. He doesn't tend to mess around if he's got straightforward moves, Austin, which I think is fair enough. This is the sort of move that Dave has that's it's one of the trickiest in Scrabble. You've got a bonus or near bonus rack. You've got lots of potential. How much of that do you use, and how do you optimize the board for your next turn? Very, very tricky.
Yeah, and that last part's especially important because, I mean, on a board like if you get that question wrong, you know, that plus a response could a very closed board next turn. Where even if you draw what you want to draw, you can't take it back.
Yeah. I mean, you probably want to keep something like gens, in which case play USC. That telegraphs you've probably got another S, which isn't helpful. If you was to play something like U's and YU, that's obviously got too many hooks. That's a non-starter. U's would be nice if it only took an S, but unfortunately it doesn't.
Yeah.
He could play ES and X, but then that's taking away one of his nice hooks. It also keeps the U, which he doesn't want. So very, very tricky move, I think, here. Can't immediately see. And it's these sort of moves that burn up your time. Quite rightly so.
See in the chat someone suggesting YU and UG. I thought about that.
Yeah, that's
I like that because, you know, S doesn't take a lot of other hooks.
Yes, it keeps scenes a bit S-y, but doesn't telegraph the fact you've got an S. You could have you've probably got one S when you play AUG like that, or blank. Yeah, I quite like AUG. Only 16, but it keeps lots of bonus potential. It's unlikely to be taken. Well, it could be taken with a 3-letter, 4-letter play on the side, but that would give you counterplay as well.
Right, and even if Austin plays there, it's very likely Dave could draw into something else.
Yeah. At the moment, the bottom right of the board is not conducive towards bonuses, so changing it with AUG, there's a lot of mileage in that.
18.
Okay.
And
So Dave's opted for something similar. It's the leave is less good, but he's got the S for the triple.
yeah, it's a fairly aggressive setup, but he's got both S's. One is gone.
Yeah.
I can see what he's thinking there.
Yeah, yes. That sort of move would worry you more than AUG. But it's reliant on the pick. And he has
Meanwhile, Austin has
yes.
narrate sitting there, but
he's in a similar situation. If he doesn't have a bonus, which I don't think he does he? With hooks and floaters.
Yeah, the double A and probably the first thing he's thinking of resolving.
Oh, he's in a similar situation. Near bonus, in fact, often as Dave had. How much of the bonus potential to keep and how to optimize his chances of a bonus. But then Dave with Aang is probably telegraphed that he's got a very good rack, rather than balancing Aang.
No challenge.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Austin, I would. Ooh,
It's interesting to me. Oh, Acre. He's played. That's being challenged, presumably.
yeah, I think that's going to come off.
Yes, that's unusual for Austin. He plays certainly against me, he plays very, very few ponies, and annotated games that I've seen, very few. It might be deliberate. It's not impossible that's deliberate, because he's got narrate, but again, that's
a high price for. I mean, you're going to lose a turn even if you get.
If you knew you were going to get your spot, but I think that's quite unlikely.
Yeah,
after Aang, perhaps Aang's is quite likely, and that's not going to give a spot for narrate. So I suspect it was just he thought Acre was good.
I guess I was a little surprised that. I mean, I guess with the extra points with QIN, but that he wouldn't have played something starting AR there.
Yes. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't
keep a power
bonus potential. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you think Acre is, meanwhile, Dave's gonna set up another ticking time bomb.
Yeah. Well, how annoying would it have been if that you had given the floater Austin needed? But that's not the case.
True.
But will he score or will he keep bonus potential here? Yeah, even if Acre had been good, I'm still quite surprised at Inert keeping AAR. Perhaps his reasoning is that it's not a particularly bonus conducive board.
That's true, but I mean, I guess there are lanes up at the top and elsewhere that it might. I mean, I guess after Dave's expected play, if he plays Aang's, it would be a little bit. So maybe that's what he was thinking.
Yeah. Something like Rav would provide AR, ER hook.
Mm-hmm.
You would provide Yarn.
15.
Okay. So it has kept the bonus potential.
10, 15 you said?
Yeah.
2, 3, 2 for you.
Dave's got an
This next turn,
advantage.
he's going to need a bonus. Yeah.
Of course, the challenge here is not just to play any bonus, but to play the best bonus or near the best bonus.
Yeah, with so many options, it's certainly worth taking the time to.
Yeah. So can he get the X? Can he get 6 X's effectively?
I would sort of expect him to prefer the O column hooking MEU, just because it seems a little more restrictive. So does it limit?
Well, with Austin's, you've seen he's got NERT, that's been played, so that's been seen. And with the RA play, he's probably very close to a bonus. We'll play the most restrictive one. Like you say, if you put the S on Muir, then you're restricting the R and the U, rather than just the G.
Right.
What is an
And
S?
Dave is going to go the other spot.
Okay, fair enough. There's probably not a huge amount in it, but I would agree with you.
It's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 8 is 14.
Yeah, I'm hearing in the chat somebody suggesting that you're opening up for by playing the sexist, for example, and Muse, you're opening up a lane for 7, which is a fair point.
44, 46, 47, 48, 98.
This is becoming a very frustrating game for Austin.
Yeah, that's one of the sort of circumstances in Scrabble when you're very, very close to a bonus 3 and 4 turns in a row and hitting it.
Yeah, well, he has another orphan.
I'm sorry.
There's Trental.
Mm-hmm.
Ratline almost fits through the eye. It looks like there possibly should be a bonus through the E. Oh yeah, it's frustrating enough in the first if you haven't made any mistakes, and if you have, you're thinking, I've brought this on myself. So it'll be interesting to see if Austin can play his way out of this.
Right now, he's only 48 down.
Yes, it feels like more. It feels like more.
It does.
And I'm sure for him it will feel like more.
But there's still 33 in the bags. He'll need Dave to slow down for him a little bit.
But he's got the same problem, only worse, and he's got lots of bonus potential. But to keep it, he's going to have to play a score of virtually nothing. Most things he does play, like for example to open up the bottom right, probably quite easily blocked with more score.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Whatever he does, Dave's aware of the situation, and he'll be trying to restrict things even further.
Yeah.
So by the time you get a bingo, it might not play, or they'll play for a very weak score, or allow a lot of counter.
Possibly bluff with Yelt. Would leave it float, but then that can be played through, but not without leaving a hook. Quite tricky. So he has slowed down, understandably, because it's like I say, he tends to play quite quickly if he's got the obvious move. Doesn't mess about, but this is very tricky for any player.
Yeah, this would seem to be the opposite of that.
It gets draining. Thankfully,
still,
he's
he's
had
get-
some straightforward moves earlier on, so he saved time. He's still got 13 minutes. It's when you have, say, 10 moves like this that your time can really get burnt up. What other options? I've thrown out Yelt as a possibility. It's a bluff, to be honest, but it would leave a floating T. Would leave the E and the R of Marinos. Taking a lot of time over this move, rightly so. It's a tricky one.
6.
Supposed to be looking for any. You know, there doesn't seem to be much that suggests
Okay.
playing deeper just yet.
Yeah, yeah. I can see the merit in that. Obviously, it's going to take a T as well as the I, but that's quite easily blocked. I think maybe he's hoping that with the block that'll provide a side hook. Yes, he might yet play yet. In fact, he has played yet. This creates a problem for Dave. How to block the yet and score and not provide counterplay.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 32, 33, 34, 35, 39.
He's gone for score. Obviously, that's quite playable down the right-hand side of weight, but score is plenty, so I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's see.
And unless Austin scores this move, that can be cleaned up next move. So basically, Austin has one shot at playing across the W.
It looks like he's not going to be able to do that, at least not.
I say that, I was assuming Dave would pick an O or an E or anything goes to the side of the W. He may not.
Yeah, but I agree. The weight scores enough that, I mean, Dave's also taking an 81-point lead, so even if Austin hits him back, it's certainly not the end.
Yeah, and as with the pickup he's got, he can block by playing through the U, block and score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in pretty.
Again, these frustrating near bonus racks. I say that, I'm assuming he doesn't have one. It's pretty quick at these if there's a bonus. It looks like there should be.
Yeah, it's the second A that.
Yeah, you've got a lovely floating E there, and even the E and U aren't that restrictive. Most bonuses with an E would fit nicely there. You've got an R, you've got the nice WE hook, but it's just not happening. I think Austin's got from the racks we know, both his and Dave's, a very low chance of winning this game.
I wonder if he's thinking of something like LA and J. The
I think it's getting to be so bad. He's got to play something like Lab. He's got to open up the top left somehow, because he's got to assume that Dave's going to take out most of the. He's going to take out the right. If he plays a 6-letter word under, say, side of W, that's going to take out the middle section of the board as well.
Right.
And it's hard to see him coming back.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think it's desperate straits now.
Yes. Well, he could come back with 2 bonuses, and playing Lav or the likes of that gives him the opportunity to play 2 bonuses. Somebody's also suggesting LA and JA. That also gives another spot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. The trouble is that's
sets up. It's restrictive that way though because you have to have the A in that spot.
Yeah. Things that's quite easily blocked. It so happens that Dave can't really block it, but with almost any rack it would be quite easily blockable. Mm-hmm. But I suppose one of the what Austin's probably expecting is if Dave can't score heavily with the triple next to the W, he might block the a la hook, and then Austin's bonus comes next to the W. Robbie coming
Dave can clean up pretty well.
Yes, and take out the triple lane. So he's probably assuming the worst case scenario, Austin's going to bonus, but he's got a big lead.
Seems to be just what the doctor.
Yeah, the trouble with Robbie is the G hooks, but then he could have played Tubby, and that leaves Stubby.
Austin has drawn one.
Yeah. He certainly needed it.
69.
Dave's drawn pretty terribly. He's got the G though, if that could help.
It's 318 to 359. Yep.
It doesn't seem to be a way to get the G. The word with the G in that spot to triple corner there, so I'm wondering if he's going to come back with something like. Well, first thing I think is something like ground.
Yeah. Well, they could play
He
Grund.
takes the front A, yeah.
Yeah.
Grund.
And he'd like to keep the G. This is the problem. He'd like to keep the G for Grubby.
Right.
Ooh, and Austin. It's amazing how the game can turn sometimes.
Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, Austin, somebody's pointed out, I'll not say it, somebody's pointed out the 9-timer that Austin now has. But I suspect that's going to be blocked.
Yeah, I think given Dave's rack, he can't really do anything that useful, either down with Grund or through the he almost surely his play.
He'll want to keep the G, but I don't think he reasonably can.
Be curious whether whatever Dave chooses to block, possibly give Austin a bonus. Doesn't look like that at first glance.
It's funny. I quite like rotund here, but if that's got its own hook, yeah, that's
Or
the thing.
rotund, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which it's just a very frustrating position for Dave. If there were no rotund, I love rotund. The turnover with rotund and no this scenario where there's no rotund, he then just blocks Grubby and he pretty much wins the game. But unfortunately, it's the word.
I guess along the same theme, something like donut. That's not exactly inspiring, but
No, there might be a lot of mileage in. I quite like donut and donuts.
yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, and coming back to your ground, as somebody's pointed out, I can hardly see the unseen tiles because of my failing eyesight. There's in fact no A's. You'd have to make the blank an A
That's true.
to go into ground. So I think he has to not get sidetracked by wanting to keep the G
10.
and just play some tiles here. Okay, he's kept the G and blocked.
Just
Fair
drop.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. I think he's done the right thing. It's tempting to try to score more than 10 in these situations, but I think it's more important to control the rack and the board, which is what he's done.
All right, so Austin's down 51, has the blank. Does he have any? Does T give him anything? Don't see it right away.
If
Right.
it were, it would be how does Chris Light put it? Airball. Airball, I think is the expression. Yes.
Yeah, 60 points.
Yes, 60 points and gives lots of counterplay.
Yes.
Yeah, Tron is nice. I think that could potentially be a game-winning play for Dave. His time's running out. There's the ache hook, but other than that, there aren't many places for bonus.
-50.
The T, Grubby, he might be able to set something up himself, but time is running out for Austin, even with the blank and nice tiles. Above sexist is quite possible.
Yeah, I guess my first thought here would be, dealing with the
27.
V and the duplicate. I mean, something like novel would do
Yeah,
that.
he
but-
scored, yeah.
345.
He needs to pick the right tiles, but with what Dave has, the bag has got some quite nice bonus tiles.
Of course, Dave looks like he's lined up Fungo to.
Yeah. So what's the bag count? It was 14. Is that down to 10?
He just played 4.
Is that 14? 7 in the bag.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Fungo can quite happily be played. Yeah.
Leaves just 2.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
9,
And
10,
Austin's
13,
likely to bonus, but it's not likely to be enough.
37, 40, 44.
You say it'll be an air ball.
20. Oh, it's very close. It's going to be very close.
Well,
Picking 3 eyes, 2 eyes.
so Dave's up by 68. I guess Fungo also opens up a new place to bingo with.
Yeah, but that's probably only going to be about
Yeah.
68, and then you should be
Right.
able to score your way out.
Yeah. So it's a weak line. That leaves 2 in the bag.
And what are the 2? SO is it? Yeah. Oh, that's quite flexible. ISO. So if Austin bonuses now through the T, he's got ISO for 22, which is probably enough. The bottom left.
Yeah.
He's not to know that. I mean, he wouldn't count on OS being in the bag unless you got desperate.
Yeah, that's kind of the miracle scenario. It's probably not.
But then Dave's setting up art, so that could be enough. 7, 8, 10, 30, 38. Austin, we need to gain 100, which he isn't going to do even with the ISO.
No. Right.
Very interesting. I think most of the time a bonus isn't going to win, but possibly none of the time. I mean, you can't have a much better pick than OS, and that's not going to win. So I suspect.
So I wonder, in a situation like this, considering playing off one tile, which is okay.
Well, somebody's saying you get coinage for 85. I don't see where that's above sexist.
Oh yeah, I see it. That's a
Would that have been 8? That could be actually 8. Anyway, it's a moot point now because he hasn't played it. Yeah, it seems coinage would have won above sexist. That's assuming he picked up SO.
Yeah, that's the thing. He couldn't have known that. So.
Yeah, it's only 1 in 36 SO.
Yeah.
Yeah, coinage, and I think the wins by 7.
It's like Dave's lined up Doiker.
Yeah.
He's getting awfully low on time. It's getting close.
But
It
it's
should
worth
be
taking it.
enough time to. Yeah, he should still have enough time to.
1, 2, 7, 8, 9,
It's
10,
It's going to be enough.
30, 35,
I
38.
think Arch covers everything. What's that, 95 point lead? 89 to draw.
We'll be getting the last.
So the only way to win would be to bonus off the L of Zila.
Something with a ONE or INE ending.
Yeah, that would be just enough. Win by 1. But I'm sure there isn't anything. How about Aches? That position anyway, 6. No, that's not enough. It looks like it's just going to be a consolation bonus for Austin.
Yeah, it's pretty good work to come as close as he did.
Yeah,
The game was looking pretty good at one point. After
Yeah.
Sexus, he did well to struggle back to this point.
Yeah. But it seems that coinage, well, interesting, again, it's another one to analyze whether coinage, if it only wins with, say, OS or IS, it might be better to play Jag. And I sort of think it's very difficult to analyze in real time, even if you're sitting here relaxed and not under board pressure. I'd be surprised if he'd missed coinage. I suspect he'd just considered he'd more likely to win by playing off 1. And so he's got a couple minutes to try and find something that might score enough, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist. Loco line or something would win by 1, I think. If it's not word. Feasible.
Yeah, I was going through the alphabet looking for possibilities.
What does a railway line run on if it's not a
Local
local
line.
line?
Right, makes sense. Well, you wonder how costly the lost turn on Acre was for. If the point difference that the lost turn resulted in is.
Oh yes, well at
That's
this level,
quite a bit.
yeah. At this level, Austin can't complain. If he's played a phony, that's the way I always look at it. If you play a phony, you deserve to lose the game unless somebody else, the opponent's made a similar error. And he'd accept that himself.
Yeah, I agree.
T.
Anytime something like that happens.
67.
Yeah, I think he's
He'd go for the
going to
consolation.
take his consolation. Yeah.
Yeah. I think as it happens, I've miscounted that the L bonus local line isn't even enough.
7, I agree.
So we wouldn't even chance it.
423.
And it's early days, spread could come into play. So he's done the right thing. Get a consolation
429.
bonus, keep the spread down.
51. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Good game, interesting to watch. Probably hinged on the phony, really, in retrospect. So well done, Dave. But early 3-0 to Dave, 2-1 to Austin. Long way to go.
Yeah, I'd have to losing the turn there sort of stem the tide, but then Dave drawing Sexus is pretty decisive as well.
Yeah.
But you know, Dave gave himself some good chances to. I mean, the setup with the ENG that gave him a lot of ways to
Yeah.
to
I think the
benefit from that.
probably the key move, if we look at it positively from Dave's point of view, I think Prod was effectively the winning move. I know we saw he had non-novel, but I think it's an excellent move,
And
which
there
eventually
were a
won the
lot
game.
of R's remaining.
I agree.
Only one other T unseen.
Yeah, that sort of shut
I
off
also figured
the
that you're
last
pitching, you
hopes.
think you might have an S for Stubby. So I figure this is better because
So I think, as you expect from
unlikely
these players,
you'll
most
G
moves
after
are
playing
very
LA.
strong, but
I may draw one of the two.
an error
Ks,
from
and that's
Austin and a very good move from Dave probably made all the
I was
difference.
considering at first just playing birdie to keep it tighter, but I'm like, no, I actually want that.
So do we know who Game 4 is going to be on the stream yet?
Yeah, it's on a bingo up there.
Oh, wait.
We can play Fungo.
Austin will be staying here, and
20
he'll be playing another player named Dave.
plus 30.
Looking
I think it was
forward to
very
that
good
one
off
off
the
the
R
iron.
because there were plenty of R's remaining, and I
In a
didn't
few
draw the
minutes.
next couple turns, so I would have.